Afternoon guys, Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School. I wanted to show you guys a couple tricks today that you can use PVC for your trapping. And there's a lot of ways to use PVC to your advantage. PVC is pretty cheap. Heck, a lot of times you can find it in the wild. And you know, trash is always an abundant resource, unfortunately, in the United States. So if you can find stuff that will work for you, that's great too. I'm going to show you a couple tricks using 3/4 inch PVC today. And there are other tricks that you can use bigger pieces of PVC for, like tunnel traps and things like that, culvert traps. We'll talk about those down the road. Today we're only going to talk about two different sets using 3/4 inch PVC. Stay with me. Okay guys, for our first set, what we've done here is I have taken about a 2-foot piece of 3/4 inch PVC and I put an elbow on it. Total cost on that is probably less than $1. And you can use it over and over again. What this becomes is it becomes a bait holder that the animal can only get to from one side. By putting it up against this tree that's on the water's edge, the only way this animal can come in here now is from the front. He's got to come in the water here or come in the water here to get to the front of that bait holder. And that's the key to this whole thing. I'll shove that bait back in there just a little ways. Then what we've done is we've just taken our trap chain and we've nailed it to this tree with a 16-penny nail. And I've got a number 3 double long spring right here in the water with about a 4-inch offset from the front of that trap and just a little bit off to the side. But what we're looking for right there is a rear leg catch. That's the big advantage to these long spring traps, is you don't have to have the perfect trap bed because they bed themselves down in that mud. And because they've got 2 big long springs on them, they act like legs. You fold them up to get that relaxed jaw or weak jaw to lay down flat, and then you have almost a tripod that you're setting down in that water. The set's done. It takes less than 2 minutes to set this up, and you're ready to rock and roll. Like I said, you know, a 2-foot piece of PVC, 3/4 inch, and 1 elbow. What I do is I usually jam a piece of wood down in here before I put the elbow on it so it's stopped up, and then I just stuff that elbow with some type of meat bait. Right now I'm using a bait that I created myself, and then there you go. Over and over and over again you can use this stuff. So just a little tip or trick. I call this the elbow pipe set for coon, and it is a great set. Okay guys, it's pretty safe to assume that there's animals crossing this log because number 1, there's a trail coming to it through the woods right here, and number 2, there's some poop on it. It goes almost all the way across, a couple steps into the water before it hits dry land. So I'd like to set a 110 conibear up right here. All right. Well, a lot of people will hammer some kind of a piece of wood on here to do that with, just a cut piece of log or whatever. But if you carry a few extra pieces of PVC with you, it becomes a no-brainer at that point, because you can put that right on the log, put your trap right on top of it, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. You can chain that right to your trap. In other words, you can run that wire right through your trap chain, and everything's set and secure in one simple move. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to run our wire right through this piece of PVC, and if we didn't have this trapping wire, we could use just any kind of wire, coat hanger, whatever. In the case of a conibear, you could probably get away with using paracord. When they get in that trap, they're going to be dead. They're not going anywhere. All you need is something to secure it from getting drug off by another animal, or possibly, you know, washing downstream, or whatever the case may be. You're not really worried about that animal running off with that trap because he's not going to. So we'll find a place we can get underneath this log with this wire, just like this, and we'll bring enough of it around that we can tie it off on one side. We'll go ahead and put our conibear chain, and you can see I've got my conibear already set with a safety on it right there. I like to come in with those things already done so I don't have to worry about doing it on the fly. Then I've got a couple slits cut in this PVC just to drag this wire down into, just like this, so it stays fairly straight. And I'll adjust where that's at once I figure out where I'm going to twist this off at. I'm going to twist it off right here. So now I'll adjust this to where I want it and twist that down with my pliers. Again, I don't have to get too fancy with this because he's not going to go anywhere. As long as that's stable, that's what I care about. I'm going to go ahead and squeeze this together. And again, I've got my safety on here because I want this thing to be stable here. Okay? Now, I can set this wherever I need to. And the last one is 3/4 inch PVC. You're probably going to have to set it on the very last one. That fits just about perfect. So you're going to have a very thin opening there. So you want to make sure you get that thing centered. If you want to widen your whiskers out a little bit by bending them, that's okay too. That's not going to hurt anything if you do that. Again, I've still got a safety lock on here. I'm not doing anything that's going to get me hurt. Okay. Now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust this just a little bit on the PVC, just like this. Get my safety back on there real quick. Squeeze that dude down where it needs to be. There we go. That's going to be a very, very touchy trigger right there. Very touchy. All right? But you can see that trap's very stable. They're not going to walk around it. They're going to have to come through it to get across here, unless it's a really good size animal. But what you're hoping for in something like this with a 110 conibear, if you're looking for a mink, a muskrat, a squirrel, something of that nature is what you're really looking for right here. And this will definitely catch them without a doubt. So we'll see what happens, guys. I just want to show you a couple easy ways to use PVC. You can make that piece longer or shorter depending on how wide the log was or what you were trying to do there. You could use the same system for a 220 if you wanted to. If you were allowed to set those on land, you would just have to, at that point, use like 1 inch, 1.5 inch PVC. You'll just have to measure where your dog's at, how wide the opening is. This is 3/4. You could use 1 inch if you wanted to. You could use 1.25 inches. All of them will work. I just like to use a smaller diameter so they don't have to, as far they have to step up to go through my trap. Okay guys, well I'm Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School. I hope you enjoyed those two quick PVC tricks for trapping with 110s and trapping coons with foothold type traps. I appreciate you joining me for this video. I thank you for everything that you do for me, for my school, for my family. I'll be back with another video in this trapping series as soon as I can.